over the past week, there's been a lot of talk about the iCloud and stolen celebrity pictures. So how do you and the rest of us keep our online life safe? Joining us now is tech mom Melissa Swedoski, and what she will tell you is Apple isn't necessarily admitting this was an iCloud problem.
That is correct. They are not going to own that. They have vulnerabilities, but they will never admit that.
Okay, for people who may not know, what's the cloud? We hear about it all the time.
We do.
What's the cloud?
And Apple's not the only one, and I want to say that up front. Google has a cloud. Microsoft has a cloud. So if you have a Windows phone, they have a cloud. There's the Dropbox, which is in the cloud. It sounds sort of ethereal.
Very fluffy, pillowy in the sky.
Like
but explain what it is.
Try to imagine the biggest server you can possibly imagine. It is an infinite amount of storage space. And I think that's where we get fooled, because we think there's this infinite amount. Who can find my little speck of information? Oh, they can find it.
And obviously, we've talked a little bit about on this show how there are some people with a lot of free time on their hands. And it sounds like if they're sophisticated enough and if they want the information bad enough, they can get it. So how do you protect yourself?
This one was essentially an email hack. And this is what I tell everybody up front. You are your own best defense. You can get McAfee, Norton, Avast, all these great security systems, and they're wonderful. But you're your own best line of defense. So be efficient. So in fact, just listening to the gentleman about the catfishing, that's it. If you get an email that seems too good to be true, offering you $1 million in exchange for 10 cents, it's not. They want your information. They want that. So if someone can get your email password, and it's not as hard as you might think.
Well, wait, they've gotten sophisticated.
Yes.
I clicked on a link one time and immediately was like, okay, wait a minute.
Yes.
It looked like it was from my bank.
From their bank,
it looked
exactly.
It looked just like what I normally see if there's an email from my bank. But the second I did it, I said, you know what? They have never sent me an email before.
Right, and that's a good point. If you hover, you don't even have to click it now, because if you hover, you'll notice in the bottom bar, it will tell you what address it is. And so if you see a crazy set of numbers and symbols and things that you don't recognize, don't click it. Because if your bank does want something from you,
oh, they'll find you.
They'll call you, or they'll send you an email that says, reset your password, something's gone wrong. You've got a message and we need to get it to you. Same thing there. So if you have any of those kind of things you think, too good to be true, or maybe not quite real, it probably is.
And what do you do? So what I heard a lot about last week is even if you snap a picture and erase it and delete it, it's still out there somewhere.
Right.
Explain that to me.
It's still in that cloud, because digital data, it's not like a piece of paper. If I go and put a piece of paper in my shredder, it's gone. But digital data, it's the data. It's the little pixels. It's the little bitty bytes. And you and I may not know how to piece it back together, but somebody else does, especially if you have the right software, especially if you have the right encryption information. You can piece all those little things back together, and ta-da, here's your picture.
At what point in time do the Microsofts and Apples and everybody have some responsibility for making sure, like, if I go through the process of erasing something, then you should erase it too?
Well, yes and no, because they have to protect themselves as much as they are going to protect you. And this sounds, I hate to sound too criminal-esque about it, but if they're going to need that data later, or if you're going to come back and say to them, I didn't really want you to delete, and that happens. You and I are honest. We're going to do the right thing, but that doesn't mean everybody else is. And if someone gets your password, that's what happened with the celebrity nudes, as so to speak. They found out the email passwords. They used that to then access and use the forgot password. And we all have that. And it's great for us when we need it.
Right.
But if I want to hack yours and I just start guessing and I can't get it, I say, forget password. And it sends me, and then I set the password, and hey, I have access. And you can re-download pictures that have been lost. If you've ever noticed, your trash never really disappears.
Correct.
Same thing. So if I say I want to re-download this, it will search and Google will send out and look and
that's why, as the lawyer in me has told clients before, you know, all that stuff in your computer is all discoverable, and that stuff you think you erased, it's still out there somewhere.
Still there. Yeah, and that's, I don't want to condone any illicit activity, but you know, yes, we want to think we have privacy. I mean, if I want to send my husband a little naughty picture, I want to think that he's the only one getting it. The reality is he's not. Same with the celebrities. I don't want to say they're bad people for having taken these. They had every right to take those pictures. And so all these people jumping on the bandwagon of they deserve what they got.
No one deserves
that. That's not true, because is against the law.
Right, exactly.
People have gone to jail for this.
And so basically what you're saying is if you want to send that little sexy picture, you better go get a Polaroid.
And that's what I told him. Well, you know, and I told my husband that. I said, everything goes on Google Drive.
Yeah.
You may not think. So if we snap a picture of our kids, same thing. And if somebody, like the guy was talking about, if somebody wants to go scoop up your pictures and pretend to be you,
And they
if you wanna
probably
see
have
your kid
already, which is a scary thing.
in a commercial, in an ad somewhere, and you're suddenly like, that's my kid.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Well, and I think it's just the day and age we live in
Absolutely.
now, unfortunately. All right, well, check out Melissa's blog. It's called Home on Deranged. We've got a link to it on our site for you, thebroadcasttv.com. We're back with more broadcast right after this. I'm going to get a Polaroid.